Hi, this is Paul. I wanted to do a review, spoilers, of Luke Cage Season 2. I wrapped it up on Sunday. I watched it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Wrapped it up Sunday. Again, it was 13 episodes again. Again, just as a disclaimer, and as a side, I think 13 episodes is a little bit too long for these type of shows. I think maybe 8 episodes would be good. I think The Defenders was 8 episodes. I think 8 episodes is good enough. I don't think you need 13. I think 13 is a little overkill. 10 maybe the max if they got a real good story. But anyway, season 2, I like season 1 up until they killed off. Again, this is we was gonna have spoilers in it. Season 1, they killed Cottonmouth. Okay, I thought that was a huge mistake. I hated Diamondback. Thought he was just too over the top, and just I think this the quality of it suffered when Cottonmouth got killed by his cousin. But I understand narratively why they did it. But it's just the show suffered because of it. Okay, because Diamondback was not a really good villain, even though they tied him into Luke's past by being his half brother. But anyway, season 2 begins with Luke Cage, still in Harlem, still doing his thing, still going out with Claire, still in Pop's barbershop, running it out of Pop's barbershop, and you still have Mariah Dillard. She's there, still in the club that she basically inherited from her cousin Cottonmouth. And of course, you have Shade still there, being her #1 right-hand man. And again, Claire is still there. They're still dating, of course. And Luke is, still struggling and how to balance it to try to be a hero and stuff at the same time, and also pay the rent. Okay, at the same time. And like I said, he's settled in Harlem, and of course, into this situation becomes another character, John Bushmaster MacGyver, played by Mustafa Sakar, and he has a bone to pick, literally, with Mariah Dillard. Okay, his family actually went into business with the Stokes, which he calls them, even though she changed her name to Dillard because she got married. He calls them Stokes because that's the family name. Okay, and he wants revenge basically because they went into the rum business, and basically the grandmother of Mariah, played by Alfie Woodard, she basically burned his mother literally alive, okay, and took over the business. Okay, so he wants revenge. He's back with a plan, and he wants revenge. Okay, and he is brutal in his nature. And of course, John Bushmaster MacGyver, he's no ordinary criminal. Okay, like I said, he has a logic to his thing of why he wants to do it. He wants revenge, pure and simple, and he wants literally to see Mariah burn. Okay, he wants to take everything from her, okay, and wants her to burn for what they did to his family. Okay, and he's very determined. And of course, going into this, I knew Luke Cage, but I didn't read about the characters so much, so I didn't know who Bushmaster and what his powers were set. And you see the trailer where he basically walks up to Luke Cage and basically gives him the business, literally catching him by surprise, and gives him the business, and he hurts him. And at first I thought, he was another prisoner that had that experiment, but he was not. He was actually a guy that was taking this substance called nightshade, which gives him these extraordinary powers and stuff, sort of like Luke Cage, but not quite like Luke Cage. Like I said, he could actually fight, and he can stop bullets to a point. He can't literally stop them all. I mean, they can go into that. He can stop them, but he can't, And as he takes this nightshade, it makes him, it's actually basically it's killing him literally. But he has a plan, and he wants to basically take everything away from Mariah, and he goes about doing it. And of course, Luke Cage has to do, not because he likes Mariah or anything, but because he's a protector of Harlem, but Bushmaster doesn't care who he has to kill, to get his revenge against Mariah. And again, I think the actor who played Bushmaster was really good. He's Mustafa Sakar. I thought he did a really good job. Okay, because like I said, he's not a one-note villain. He has a reason why he wants her to burn. And you eventually get to know. They show you actually why he wants his revenge, and they actually show it in the flashback. Well, I think not a flashback. I think in episode 11, I think, or so, they show what actually happened between the families and stuff. So he wants his revenge, and he wants it. And the fights he has with Luke are pretty darn good. Especially the first fight wasn't really a fight so much because like I said, he caught Luke by surprise and he hurt him. And then the second fight they had on the bridge, which I thought was a little better fight, Luke actually was winning that fight when he pulled out the magical dust that paralyzed Luke, and then he literally kicked him into the water. Okay, but Luke overcame that, of course, naturally. And then I think they had 3 fights. I think they had 4 fights actually. The first fight, like I said, he caught Luke by surprise. Second fight, Luke kind of won, but Bushmaster cheated. The third fight, Luke won actually. He actually won that fight and stopped Bushmaster. He actually stopped him and captured him, even though he escaped later, but he did. And then the fourth fight was when Bushmaster came back again, this time with some help of some super Nightshade. Okay, and he kind of, well, yeah, he did kind of, well, he didn't beat Luke, but he actually, beat him up, so to speak. But Luke, wasn't, and there was even a part where they actually teamed up against Mariah's thugs and stuff. But I want to talk about Alfre Woodard, who played Mariah Dillard. She really came into her own in this second season. She really stepped up her game, and she was every bit of the relentless person she was. I mean, she puts on this public face of being a councilwoman and stuff and doing stuff for the community, but at the same time, she is brutal when she steps out. She steps out, and she is brutal in it. There's a scene in the towards the latter part of the season where she basically goes, she goes after Bushmaster, and she literally, while he's temporarily down, she literally goes back to his family's restaurant and goes in Brooklyn, and she literally slaughters the place, sets his uncle on fire, shoots him. She really just was absolutely brutal in her thing. And now at the same time, this character is trying to reform with her daughter, and then reconnect with her daughter, who she basically, she gave away, and she's trying to show her that she's, even though she's, the crime lord, she's still for the community. And she really, and her and Shades, at least she did, she had a plan to try to get out from the business and try to, make a ton of money and go legit. But the circumstances with Bushmaster coming at her left and right, things didn't quite work out. And like I said, she was brutal. Alfre Woodard just played her with a swagger, and she was brutal and efficient. Okay, so much so that even Shades, after a while, started, he eventually turned on her, because she got to a point where she was just brutal to be brutal, and just out of control. Even though, like I said, that towards the latter part of the season, there was like there's an instance where I just thought it was just ridiculous with her. Well, I'll talk about it later a little bit. But again, I liked Theo Rossi as Shades. He was usual calm and cool self, and always had her back. Until she kind of stepped over the line and went kind of nuts. Okay, now as far as the other characters, Rosario Dawson is Claire. She's Claire, and eventually she fears for Luke, that Luke is going too far to try to stop Bushmaster and stuff, and she leaves him. Basically, she walks out and she leaves him. Now again, I was never really a big Claire fan, even though I love Rosario Dawson and I like her in the series and stuff. But I want Luke to get together with Jessica Jones. Okay, I know it's in the comic books. I want that to happen. So, as far as I'm concerned, Claire doesn't have to come back. Okay, to Luke. Okay, let Luke find his way to Jessica. That's just my personal feeling about that. Okay, because I think Mike Coulter and Kristen Ritter have good chemistry as Luke and Jessica, and I definitely think they should get together again. Hopefully, maybe if they do another event, I want them to be together. Okay, that's just my personal opinion about that. But anyway, also what I liked about there was an actor in this, Raj, he died actually. He played Luke's father, which I wasn't expecting that character to come back, because I was under the impression his character died. Played by Reggie E. Cathy, who plays James Lucas, Luke's father, who tries to come back and reconnect with Luke. Okay, but Luke, of course, is standoffish about it, because obviously from what happened with Bushmaster and everything else that he found out about his father and stuff. But eventually they kind of come together. But you can tell, well, I don't know if you can tell, and I thought the father character was going to die. I really did think, but at a certain point after he gets rescued, well, not after he gets rescued, but after him and Luke kind of reconcile, you don't see him again for, I think, the last 3 episodes. And I think that, I'm not sure about this. This is a guess because I haven't looked it up, because I know the actor who played him James Lucas died, Reggie E. Cathey, he actually died in real life. So I wonder if he died during the filming of this, and that's why you didn't see him anymore in the other episodes, because I could have sworn that's what I could have, his character would have been, obviously when Luke, his character, you would have saw him later in the series. I think you would have saw him again. He just, after him and Luke reconciled and they went to dinner, you didn't see him anymore. Okay, and this, you didn't see him. And so I just thought either the actor died during the filming and they just didn't mention him anymore. And I guess they have to acknowledge him maybe when they do season 3, but it's a shame because I think the actor, him and Luke, I like their struggles and stuff, and I like that they came to there was a relationship. They kind of came to a kind of common ground in the end. So I thought that was good. And let me talk about another character who was he was like the MVP to me of Luke Cage. Misty Knight. I love the actress who plays Misty Knight, Simone Missick. I think she is great, because they showed her in this. She was struggling, of course, with that she lost her arm in the Defenders, and she was struggling trying to be a cop and stuff, and coming back to be a cop. And of course, the good thing is with Misty Knight, Colleen Wing came along and kind of gave her a pep talk, and had little girls night at the bar, and she kind of inspired her to come back, and she actually got the bionic arm from Danny Rand, and which was really nice. And she really kind of stepped up, and I liked that she was not giving Mariah any slack at all. I liked that she was constantly on her neck. I like that about Misty Knight. She didn't give no slack, and there was like another female cop and the detective that were always in her business literally, and she was not having it. And I like Simone Missick. She's a really talented actress, and I definitely want to see her in other things because she's really good at Misty Knight, and she's a really good actress. And I definitely think she should definitely be in other things. She's a really good actress, and like I said, she's kind of like the Rock that Luke talks to, and whenever there's an issue, that Luke talks to her and stuff and gets her opinion. And then you see that she was actually struggling with her, her partner, who played by Frank Whaley, Scarf. That was his, who was, he was a dirty cop. Let's face it, he was a dirty cop, and she was, having issues, struggling with, all the cases she worked with him and all that stuff, and you really got to see her character grow. Okay, she became confident, and she still struggled with things, but I liked her performance, and I really appreciate her, and she definitely is a asset to Luke Cage in the show. She's definitely an asset to the show. Now, another actress that was in it, the actress that played Tilda, Mariah's daughter, I thought she was really good as well, because she, like I said, she was not trusting her mother. She was a doctor, and she ran her own little holistic, store and stuff, and she was the one that actually Bushmaster came to to try to get the Nightshade and kind of forcing her at first to help him to recover and to give him the strength that he could have to fight Luke and all that stuff. And I liked her, and there was a great scene with Alfie Woodard and her when she was breaking down the history of why she gave up her daughter and what happened and who her true parent is and why she did, and she told her that she's trying to love her, but she really can't, because all she does when she sees him, she sees the guy that that raped her. And it was just that scene was raw, and the actress did a really good job. Gabrielle Dennis, that's her name. She did a really good job. You just felt so bad for her when Alfie Wood was breaking, his character Mariah Dallett was breaking it down to her about their history and what the true history is and stuff. And it was heartbreaking. But I think she did a good job, and she wound up being the one that actually killed Mariah, because Mariah actually, got stopped by Luke Cage. She got sent to prison, okay, and because Shades actually turned on her and actually testified, and he was going to testify. He didn't testify, but he gave statements, and he was going to, so she got busted, and she was in jail, and of course, and this is the part I was talking about before that was super unrealistic. While she was locked up, of course, Bushmaster knew that she was locked up, and he was getting ready to leave. But actually, I guess he had he paid 2 girls in there to try to, they threw, I think, some flammable liquid on her, and they were going to light her up. But then these other 2 inmates came out of nowhere, stabbed the prison guard, and stab and slice the neck of those other two inmates that was gonna light Mariah on fire. And then some other girl comes out of nowhere and said, "Look, you won't remember me, right?" Basically telling Mariah, you owe me and all this stuff, and this is gonna be arrangement. And then of course Mariah turns on her and slices her throat, and then tells the other two girls, "Oh, listen, I'm gonna give you money, $20,000 in each of your accounts and all this stuff. You work for me and all this." Come on, they killed a first. They killed a correctional officer. He killed 3 other inmates in the prison. There's no way in the world. After that, she had lawyer visits. Luke Cage came to see her. Her daughter came to see her. That prison would have been locked down once you killed a correctional officer. So no, that part was just BS. I said, come on. They should have even have done it that way, because that just makes it just so much BS. There's no way in the world that after they kill a CO and 3 inmates in that prison, and she's getting visitors after that. Okay, there's no way to cover that up. You killed a correction officer, okay, and 3 inmates got killed. There's no way to cover that up. Okay, they would have locked that prison down for the rest of the year. Everybody would have transferred out of everywhere. Okay, that was just BS. Okay, but anyway, the daughter, Tilda, she actually mixed this solution up, I guess, and she put it on as lipstick, and then she kissed her mother goodbye, and of course that was poison. And then her mother, of course, while she was talking to Luke, she spit up blood, and then she, of course, died right on the floor. But before she did, she changed her will to give Luke the club, okay, not the daughter, which we all thought the daughter was going to get it, but she changed her will to give it to Luke. And of course, since Mariah died, Shades, who was actually had to cut a deal, he's going to testify, but his deal was contingent upon Mariah being convicted, okay. But since she died, everything that he confessed to, they arrested him at the end. Mr. Knight lethally arrested him at the end. So off he went to jail, okay, at the end. And then, okay, like I said, Luke inherited the club. But first, he said when they told him about it, he said, just burn it down to the ground. So we thought he was going to do that, but then you see him actually in the club in a suit and stuff, and he has Sugar with him. The actor, that played Sugar from the first season, and he was in this season, and he was his like right-hand man. And I can understand why Luke did it, because because after Mariah got locked up, Harlem was going crazy with crime, and people were shooting in the street, broad daylight, crime was running rampant. And Luke actually went to one of the crime lords that deals with Mariah and said, "Listen, you're gonna stop it, okay, or I'm gonna disrupt your business, okay. I'm gonna make it so that even your partners, okay, will not want to deal with you anymore, okay. They'll kill you yourself, basically." So he kind of cut a deal with them to keep crime out of Harlem, okay, so to keep the peace, and he would oversee it from the club, okay. And I know they say that Mariah did it because it'll corrupt him eventually. And there was a moment where you see, Misty Knight comes in, the daughter comes in, and Misty Knight tells Luke, "Oh, I didn't really think you do this. I'll keep my eye on you, okay." And then also, then Sugar comes up to him and says, "She's here." And then he thinks about it for a minute. He said, "Tell Claire to go home." And you don't see Claire or Rosario Dawson at all, but he tells her, just tell her to go home. So I'm hoping he's done with Claire, okay? But I know that next season season 3 will Luke be corrupt, because you saw the crime lord, the Italian babe, played by Annabelle Sciorra. She came in, and I guess she came into the club and stuff, and you see Luke up top there where Cottonmouth was, where Mariah was. He's in charge of the club now. And I know his homeboy that was hanging out with him with Pops. I think Luke sold out. He said he'll take over the lease, and Luke said, "Okay, you leave Pop's store as neutral." But Luke, I understand why Luke did it, because he saw no other way to keep Harlem safe unless he run it. Because if he didn't do it, then somebody else would probably step in and take it over, and he got to fight that person again. Whether if he runs everything from then he can watch out for Harlem from his perch. But there's always the temptation of will he get corrupt or not or stuff. But I don't think Luke will get corrupt. I just don't think his character is that way. I don't think he'll get corrupt. That's why I'm just sad that the father died. The actor who played the father passed, because his father, I think, would have definitely been a big part of season 3 too. Where they may have been there to keep Luke honest and stuff. And just checking off on him and stuff. So, but anyway, overall, I like this season way better than the first season, especially the second half of the first season. So I'm gonna give this show again. I think the episodes, I think 13 episodes is way too long. I think 8, 10 the max. Okay, I just think way too long. So I'm gonna give it a 7.8. Oh yeah, I forgot about forgot to mention it. I'm 7.8. What I forgot to mention was Danny Rand. He showed up in episode, was it episode 10 or 9? I forget which episode it was. But Danny Rand actually showed up, and he actually, Finn Jones, the actor, you know, like I said, him and Luke do have good chemistry, and he was trying to, you know, teach Luke how to be calm and stuff and all, and give him good advice, you know, and good advice, and you know, they really clicked together and stuff. And he, you know, I really liked him in this. And now eventually maybe we'll see the Heroes for Hire thing, and maybe they won't do a not Dead Iron for season 2. Maybe they'll do eventually. Maybe they'll do Heroes for Hire and have Luke and Danny Rand together. But I think they're going to do Luke Cage. But they're going to have to, because they put him in that position where he's in charge now. So maybe down the line they'll do, you know, they'll put them together in one series together, Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Colleen Wing and Misty Knight together, and have them all in one series, which would be nice. So maybe give Luke maybe 2 more seasons by himself, and maybe for the next Iron Fist series you have Luke guest star on it and stuff, just to strengthen that show up. And it looks like Finn Jones, I guess, getting a little better. I know people still think he's horrible with the fighting and stuff, but I didn't notice it as much in this show. Okay, and I think he's improving exactly with that. So I'm good. Anyway, I know this is a long review, but I want to talk spoilers and I want to get everything in there. So again, let me know what you think. I give it a 7.8. Definitely better than the first season, especially the second half of the first season. I think this season was really good, and I just think they need to again cut down these 13 episodes. I think 13 episodes is way too much. I think 10 episodes to max. 8, but maybe 10. Actually, maybe 10 should be good. Good number. Defenders should be 8, but this individual series should be 10 each. I think 10 is a good number. Okay, I think 13 is a little overkill, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, let me know what you think of Luke Cage Season 2. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram in the description box, as well as a link to my main channel, Trepacer. Please check that out as well. And also, I'm going to try to download this. Well, I'll have to rip this video. I'll probably do that tonight, probably, and then probably upload this when I come home from work tomorrow, when I watch Cloak and Dagger. So that's what I'm going to do tonight, because this video is about almost 23 minutes long, so I'm going to download it, because if I try to rip it now, it's going to take, Wondershare is probably going to take over 2 hours or so, maybe 2.5 to render, so I can do that while I'm sleeping. Okay, so I'll probably do that when I go to bed, just so let it render, and then just do the video, and then upload it tomorrow when I come home from work. So look for this video to be uploaded on Thursday. Should be uploaded. I think Thursday would be good. Okay, so anyway, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below. And this is Paul saying so long and take care.